So yesterday we did the inbound EIB, which was importing data. And the primary source of data is usually the reports that we run in Workday, because we are changing the data within the Workday system. Right? And then we use that reports to validate the data back. Today we won't be able to successfully do an outbound integration because we don't have a third-party system. But I still want to give an example because we created a report and we enabled it as a RAS report. Okay, so if you all remember in the last few sessions and yesterday in the advanced section, I enabled it as a RAS report. There's a reason for that is because now when I create an outbound integration, let's create an EIB. It's also a three-step process: get data, transformation, and delivery. Right. So, but in the get data format, we will be using our report, the one we created, as an input, because we will be sending this report to a third-party system or anywhere outside the Workday system. So we have multiple options. You can either directly use a web service, which is similar to what we did in an inbound EIB. But if you want to send a report, you first have to enable it as a RAS report. And only if we enable it, then only if I search for it here, I can see that. Now, in this case, if you will notice, this is not enabled as a web service. So even if I try to search it here, it won't come up. Now, let's say if I enable this report as a web service. Now, if I try to search it here, there you go. So you need to enable a report as a web service in order for you to send it outside the Workday system. I'll go back and, reverse the edits so that you get to do it yourself. I'll go back and use my own report here. Now, in case of an outbound EIB, you have to be careful in the transformation and delivery, because this transformation type will directly depend on what the requirement of that outside system is or outside user is, what kind of format that they need. And depending upon, there are some Workday deliver transformations, which comes under, if you're using a report, you will use custom report transformation. If you're using some other source like a web service, you will use this, else use this. And depending upon what you use, it has to be defined separately by an integration consultant. It's not expected by a functional or techno-functional consultant to define these. So just for the testing purpose, we pick up custom report, or we don't have anything there. Let's try this. This is the transformation stage where the data will be converted into the language that the third party understand. Right. So we have to define that logic using some XML and WSL codes, which, like I said, is being done by a integration consultant. And we can, as you can see here, there's a big list of different custom transformations that were created. I'll open one of them if it allows me. I don't think I have the access. You see, these are XSLT. Each of the transformation is XSLT extension, which is like an XML language. So it's like a code written in the backend, which you can use. Custom report, custom and new custom report transformation. The first one, there was nothing there in the system. Yes. The second one, there was some created by the consultants. There is no restriction on that for custom transformation if you're using web service. Ideally, we use it for web service, but we don't have anything in custom report transformation. Yesterday, when we were doing the inbound EIBs, in the get data section, we added change business title. That's the web service I'm talking about. You have enabled the report as a web service, which you are using as an input here in the get data section. At the transformation, now you have to transform this report. What format will you transform it into? That is what we are defining here. So we'll just select a random value here to move to the next step, and you will have that error. Now in the delivery, based on how the receiving end wants to get it delivered, they can directly deliver it to their Amazon storage. You can send it to their email, FTP servers, HTTP servers, SFTP servers, or as a Workday attachment. You have to give a file name, test, velvet, outbound. Document retention policy is basically, to my best understanding, is until how long the receiving end will have access to that file to retrieve. By default, it's set to 1 day, but I think there is a maximum of 180 days that you can use. Yeah, it says if set to 0, this document will not be retained for access after the integration has been executed. That's why it's 1 day. So within that 1 day period, the receiving end must be pulling this information. And then if you click next, click OK. So your integration system is ready. Specify the high ranges. Just gonna do random values here. But as you saw, there were other options like, you can send it to someone's email. You can send it to an SFTP server, an HTTP server as well. In that case, you would definitely need credentials, which will be shared with the receiving party. We don't use Workday attachment as an option, but since we don't have any third-party system with us, so that's why I picked that up. And ideally, when you're sending data from one system to another, it has to be through a secure protocol. But the purpose of this demo was just to let you know that there are outbound integrations as well. There will be very, very few instances where you will be asked to do something on it. So you should at least have an high-level understanding of what that is. Okay. And if you notice something here, it's like manager. You can see here, there's a manager name. You can read it because you have experience with it, but sometimes it's just gibberish. So just letting you know that, yeah, it does require programming. But you should know what outbound integrations are to at least, be able to answer questions if needed. Yeah, see, there are two things here. When you initially join, like what we are training you for is for techno-functional consultant roles. That means that your primary focus will be finding a job at a customer side, not at the implementation end. Okay, customer ends means companies which are using Workday or currently implementing Workday. Now, when you join a team like this, they only hire you if you present to them that you know Workday. Okay, if your interest specifically lies in integration, then I would suggest take a training from an organization like we have, where we provide trainings, and then apply for integration roles. There are tons of integrations role. There are tons of gap, like a big gap where integration consultants are always needed in every organization. But let's say you're working in a company for about a couple of years, and then you want to switch to integration, and you check with your company. Every company get Workday credits. That Workday credits allow their company employee to go for trainings without any cost. So you can enroll for that. Like this year itself, I did 2 different trainings because my company had those credits. So it's not like immediately when you join the company, they'll send you for training, because, you need to build your credibility in the company first so that the company feel like investing more in you. So that officially marks the end of the course. So focus on this course, which you have done right now. And then if there's ever a need of, enhancing your skills, we are always there.